Of course I have to address this. I can't live with this. I can't live with this anymore. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Christina. This channel is all about self-transformation and self-change, and I need to address a video that I made recently titled My Real Purpose. And in that video, I talked about my experience of 15 years being on YouTube and what I used it for and how I transformed myself from very limited self-definitions, very insignificant experience of myself to where I am now, feeling very comfortable with myself, very confident, very creative, very much not who I thought I was. But in that video, I made this statement that I can't, it's that point of, I talk about how my channel is used for overcoming self-definitions and limitations and fears. I've been using my YouTube channel for my own process of transcendence and evolution and transformation. And yet I make this statement about these initial videos that I made being cringy and that they're private and I would never show them. If you go back to my earlier videos, some of them are unlisted and private, which who knows if I'll ever release them because they're kind of super cringy. Since I made that statement, I have published them and made them public. I want to, in this video, go back and watch this video and face the cringiness in which I thought I experienced in relation to them. Because what is cringy? Like, if someone's like, that's so cringy, or that makes me feel cringy, it's basically a self-judgment. It's basically embarrassment. It's feeling maybe ashamed, wanting to hide, like saying, oh, that's not me, pushing away in a way. My channel being all about self-transformation and facing your limitations and overcoming them and transcending to become your best self, your utmost expression. Of course I have to address this. I can't live with this. I can't live with this anymore. So we're gonna watch this video and I'm going to face that cringy experience, which to be honest, I've probably avoided for 15 years. When I first made those videos, I mean, I already know that level of innocence. I was so excited by the idea of taking control of my life and who I am and who I was and how I was living that I just went for it. And so I put out videos, not really giving too much thought to it, just pushing myself to exist beyond what I thought I was capable of. But after that, like years after that, I would look at those videos in a way that I was like, oh God, I can't even look at it. I can't even face it, is essentially what I was saying. And why? Why can't I face it? What judgments was I having towards myself, who was this innocent, beautiful creature wanting to just be better? So let's watch this video and let's just see what all the cringe is about. Okay, so this is my first video ever published on this channel. It was 2010, February 2nd, day one. I came out the gate ready to do a 21-day, 30-day vlogging challenge. I made it to day 6. You know, that's the thing. You learn how to walk. You try to walk and then you fall down and then you try again. And then you fall down and then you try again until you walk. So anyways, day 1, self-recording. Let's see what all the cringe is about.
Hello again. So this is day 1.
I was nervous. Let me just explain who I was at this stage. So I was 24. I was very insecure, very self-judgmental, very afraid of myself and other people. Yet I also felt very attractive, and so felt like my beauty and the way that I looked was an advantage that I could utilize. I always got a lot of attention for the way that I look. I had a lot of people comment about how I looked. I was pursuing acting and modeling at the time, and so I was very aware of how I looked. But that's why I came here. That's why I started my channel, is because I wanted to be more than the shell of a person I was. I didn't want to be so fixated on what I looked like and not knowing who I was. So that's what this channel is all about, is me discovering who I am as a being and how I have discovered that. And anyway, so just already out the gate, I can just see I'm so nervous because, you know, it's like, yeah, I have this pretty face, but I'm not confident at all in who I was at that stage.
1 of self-recording. I am challenging myself with 21 days of self-recording. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I have noticed since I have started process,
I was always judgmental of that movement where I do that and I play with my hair. I was always in judgments of that, and I think it's because it exposes, me in relation to what I'm talking about. Everything's exposed in the body language. You can read people so easily based on how they're holding themselves, what their face is doing, what their voice is doing. Everything's here, everything's exposed, everything's seen. You can't hide. So I think I was always in judgment of that movement because I felt like, I felt vulnerable sharing. Oftentimes we want to hide our vulnerability because we're protecting it, or we think we have to. I wanted to say what I'm defining here as process is the Destiny I process, which is simply discovering who you are as life with specific tools like writing, self-forgiveness, self-honesty, self-responsibility. Like for me, it was the training ground to become the self-aware creator of my reality that I am, and essentially equal in one with all life here. So that's what I'm referring to when I say process.
Writing is presented as such a tool, really to expose, what is moving within me, and what I exist as, and what I have existed as. And writing for me has always been so healing, and I have found it to be a great tool to assist me. But it's interesting because now where I see how it's effective, and I see how I can specifically look at certain things in my writing, there's this point of resistance that comes up,
I remember that experience of resistance that I had, and it's so funny now because 15 years later, pushing through all the resistances that I did, I know how easy it is to just do the thing that you resist. Just do it. Take the first step, take that first momentum, and then it just releases. The resistance has no power over you. But I remember that experience initially of resisting writing, and it felt so big. And it felt so in process. Resistance was defined as the point of, at least how I understood it and how I worked with it, was resistance is simply you hitting a limitation. It's like you're at the limit of your comfort zone, and so going beyond that, there's a resistance to it because you have to self-will, self-move yourself. You have to move yourself. There's nothing going to move you through that, because we kind of like to be in our comfort zone because we're safe in our comfort zone. But when we expand beyond that, that's when we actually expand. That's just how I worked with resistance and understanding what resistance is in our life. And I just want to tell that 24-year-old Christina that just write. It's not so complicated. Just go write. But I thank her for what she did to get me here.
I don't want to write, So I'm doing these self-recordings as a point of standing within myself, forcing myself to take.
Okay, I have to expose myself here because that was not the only reason. Another reason was because other people in the community were vlogging, and I wanted to be on camera because I wanted to be seen, because I valued the way that I looked, and I liked the feedback that I got for how I looked. And so that was another reason why I was getting myself in the mix, because I want to be like, hey, I'm here, look at me. Attention, essentially. But why do we seek attention? We seek attention because we don't attend to ourselves or validate ourselves. We want that externally from other people, which is a limitation.
In action, because if I'm not willing to write, then I'm going to make myself be willing to do something. Well, it's more like I have found with when I cut my hair, there was a lot of fear towards cutting my hair. Obviously, I had a lot of excuses I was giving myself, and reasons why I shouldn't do it, and it's just excuses. But I chose from that point to stand up and move myself. I directed myself within that fear and said, no, this is what I'm doing. Yes, I see myself resisting it, but I need to push through that, and I did it. And it was a really cool experience, and I'm glad I did it. And so it's kind of what I'm doing here with this. If I'm finding resistance in writing, so I am putting myself.
It's funny because it's like, okay, well, the solution is just what you said. Go write. Just push through the resistance.
Out there in my face kind of thing. Let me do 21 days of self-recording. Let me observe myself for 21 days within these, and hopefully...
If you ever want to see yourself in terms of what you hide within yourself, in the deep, dark, shadowy parts of yourself that you probably don't let yourself see, record yourself. You will see all your self-judgments. You will see how you give all your power away to other people. You will see all the things that keep you limited and defined within a very small scope of reality and expression of who you are. Self-recording is the best tool to face yourself in all your shadow aspects or limited aspects or self-definitions that don't serve or are aligned to who you really are.
I can bring myself to a point where there is no longer resistance. Yeah. So obviously...
Okay, so I also, 2 minutes in, I also had the tendency and do have the tendency of being very hard on myself. So let me just give a moment to myself for being so brave and doing what she needed to do in that moment to move and direct herself and to participate and to expand. And you're amazing, 24-year-old Christina. Thank you so much for what you did.
There's some uncomfortability within being on camera. And I feel like if I'm not willing to write to myself about how I exist as, then maybe I would like telling everyone else.
So it's kind of like punishment, self-punishment.
Yeah, I'm just going to take it slow. I'm just going to talk about how I've been experiencing myself. And I like seeing myself on camera in a sense where I can really tell by my face what I'm really thinking. You know, it's cool to be able to look back on the video and see if there was any points that I wasn't completely myself,
I'm blinking all the time.
You know, if I was projecting anything. Yeah.
It's really interesting because I see myself as very feminine here, where mostly I experience myself as, like, over the years, especially the last 15 years, as in a more masculine expression. And I've been, you know, playing with tapping into my feminine side a bit more and expressing that a bit more. And it's funny because in here, it's like I feel like there's way more femininity to me, which I was not aware of back then. So that's kind of interesting to notice.
Well, I just observed that the movement within me as far as my mind goes, like certain thoughts and, you know, just the chatter within and whatever is happening, it's slowed down or it stopped, and it wasn't as chaotic as it usually is. And it was cool because I was able to see more specifically what actually was moving, what kind of thoughts were moving, and where my attention was being directed. From the time I made my first video ever to now, I can see
there's probably like 3 videos. And like 6 months, not long.
To all of what was being presented by Destiny, and I felt very overwhelmed, like I said before. And even after that, I still, you know, felt like I needed to be at a specific point within myself already, and I didn't allow myself any room or time to really soak in what was being said and to come to really realize what is here within me. So I have noticed in the last couple, I would say, well, probably in the last like week.
Yeah, that's a very cool point that I'm sharing, because I still can relate to that, where it's like I have this expectation of myself of like perfection, like immediate perfection, but in a polarity, like in a judgment of like this needs to happen because it's the only way that things can happen, and if I'm not this, then I am nothing. That's a very cool, I'm just proud of myself for having that reflection.
Here too, I have become more aware of myself as a mind, meaning I have noticed certain movements come up within me, like anger and spite, and I have observed myself take action from that point.
Oh my gosh, it's kind of timely because I've walked through points recently where I acted from anger and spite. So very interesting past self-support here.
So the fact that I'm observing that says a lot to me because, you know, before I would just take action. This is just what it was. It was so systematic, and it was just a reaction, you know. It was so automatic. Obviously that's not me, because now I'm able to see how I'm doing that. I have a lot more patience with myself lately. You know, taking it easy and keeping it simple, you know, and
I can really work myself up when I am in the loop of my mind, even now 15 years later, of actively becoming aware and directing myself as my mind. And yeah, it's no joke. It's no joke to become aware of what is actually here as the mind and all the ways we can complicate ourselves through complexities and all the different avenues of thought. This is relevant even 15 years later for me.
just allowing myself to express myself, and, you know, if I take action from a certain point, you know, not to beat myself up for it, you know, but to, you know, forgive myself and just, you know, realize that I have existed this way for a very, very long time, for a long, long time, and it's going to take some time to, you know, sort it all out. So, you know, I'm working with that.
I just ended. No goodbyes, just turn it off. Oh, that was so good. And that is really the point that I see here that I really want to bring through with this video, is that point of forgiveness, self-forgiveness. That is the greatest thing I ever received from walking the destiny process specifically, was realizing the degree in which I can and am able and must forgive myself as who I am here, and all is one is equal. And through self-forgiveness, what I came to was my innocence, and realizing who I am as that innocent point. And it's like this, when I go back and look at these videos that are cringy, which is just me being in judgment of myself or ashamed of myself or embarrassed about myself, what I can realize is that, look at this innocent being. Like, even there, 24-year-old me was this innocent being looking to evolve and to get to know myself and to know who I am for real, and just dove head first and didn't even think about it and just went for it. And I'm so proud of me. I am so proud of me, and I'm sorry to myself for judging myself. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to judge myself for who I was, instead of seeing how that being has served me here and continues to serve me here, because I'm continuing to grow and evolve and transcend all the limitations and all the fears. So that was fun. If you like this video, if you want to see more of these videos, let's go face some more of my cringy videos if you want. I have a lot. It might be fun to watch day 6 actually, because that day 6 was the last video in that series, and then I fell and I had quite the tumble within myself after that, and I had to stand back up and come back onto my channel and face that point of I didn't complete my 21 days. Yeah, if you're interested in videos like this, please let me know. I will make another one, kind of testing out and seeing what works here. But ultimately I had that point nagging within me of like, oh, I made this statement about what my channel is, and then I contradicted immediately. So I had to come and just realign all of that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you have anything to share, I would love to hear your comments. So please place that below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.